Overall in 2019, what do you think are the two top priorities for the Nassau Police Department?
Top priorities are going to be the same as they were in 18, believe it or not, because we still have kids losing their lives on the battle with opiates. So we're going to keep Operation Natalie in full gear. We're going to tweak it a little bit. We're bringing in a Too Good for Drugs program that has been here before, but there is a new version of it that's coming out of Florida that we will be purchasing with asset forfeiture money, bringing it back with the schools, and it's a scalable program that works from kindergarten forward.
Okay. So how is that different than what's happening now?
Well, now the Too Good for Drugs program we brought it out about 2010, 2011, and we left the old model in place. Mm-hmm. Things have changed. Vaping has changed. The opiate use has changed. Kids are younger. The legalization of marijuana, they say, is coming. So we need to educate the kids more and more about how the bad usage of what marijuana can do to you, especially at a young age. And
is the Too Good for Drugs program, does that include officers going into the schools as they have been, showing videos, or what is?
Yeah, it's correct. It's got handouts. We train the trainers. We go into the school and we speak to the superintendents. Then we speak to their designee. They'll get the program, and then each grade will have a part that they take. It scales from kindergarten right through up into high school. So we again, keeping the kids in tune about how bad certain things are for them to stay away. They say your brain is not really developed until you're 20, 21 years of age. So we want to make sure that they're not using marijuana before those ages, and hopefully not using it at all. Mm-hmm. But we can get them educated about how bad the usage is for them.
And where in 2018 you did all the mapping of the different neighborhoods, and some people criticized you for that, saying you're pointing out neighborhoods, you're making them look bad. Do you think that program was successful?
Absolutely. So we saw a 24% in non-fatal overdose deaths. That's 1/4 of what we had in 2017. We saw approximately 11% less in deaths. So we were 11 from 16 to 17. We dropped 11 in fatal deaths related to heroin. This year we came down another 11%. The numbers are not there yet until we wait for the ME reports, mm-hmm. but we're trending right. So education is doing something, awareness, treatment, enforcement, diversion, all part of the multi-pronged approach. But I think the biggest thing that we emphasize is the cooperation from communities. So yeah, we called out the communities. We brought them to these meetings, and then they came back and we got a result. And the result was a positive result.
And as those 11% down, is that heroin or opioids overall?
It's heroin and opiates.
Okay.
Correct.
And then when I started this, I asked you the two top priorities. So what would the secondary priority be other than cracking down on opioids?
So the other is school safety.
Oh, okay.
So we're big into our school resource program. We've trained all 56 school districts and now into the private schools regarding how we attack an active shooter situation. We've trained their trainers to train the school. We've trained all the principals. We're into private industry right now, working with them also to train them. So staying in front of the training, and as things change, and as we saw a different approach down in Parkland where they pulled the fire alarm and how to do. So we had to change a little bit on how we react to an active shooter type situation.
And does that training include training the teachers as well as the
mm-hmm.
officers?
So we've done superintendents, then we've done all the principals, and now we're into doing the teachers. And we've also done communities. So we're educating communities so they know what we do when we respond, how we get there quicker. A lot of this is the fear factor. Parents are definitely afraid of their children going to school and an active shooter to occur. So we have to bring down not the concern of it or the fear, but just let them know that we got it. This is what we do. Our guys are experts in what they do. They train the schools to prepare. The cooperation we have from our superintendents and our public schools and private schools is phenomenal. They work with us hand in hand, day in and day out, to make sure that the kids in our schools are safe.
What is your position on armed teachers in schools?
I don't agree with it. And I'll tell you why. You just saw what happened out in Suffolk County. Someone left a gun in the bathroom. That's what I've been saying all along. It happens. When you have guns in the environment, it's a good chance that you can have an accidental discharge or you can have somebody leaving a gun behind. I'm not opposed to those schools that choose to have an armed guard outside the school, staying outside the environment. But again, that's up to the school. And I've always said, look, we'll give you the numbers. We'll give you what the data says. and we'll give you our suggestions, but you make the final decision.
And on that issue, there's been controversy in Suffolk County regarding the school resource officers. We use them in Nassau County. Do you think they're working, and do you fully support that?
Absolutely. So our gang activity is way down. Our violence is down. Our shootings in Roosevelt, Uniondale, where a good percentage of our gangs are, or were, I should say. Our shootings went from 377 in 2010 to 15 last year. You've seen an improvement in the community, the businesses, and the schools. So it's all of us working together to attack the problem. Gang violence is always going to be there. There's always going to be gangs. They're always going to pop up a new wave of the gang. Right now, the hot item is MS-13. Last year, we uncovered 2 bodies that were killed by MS-13 members, but they were killed in 17 and 16. So last year, we're happy to say that we had no MS-13 murders that we're aware of as of yet. The Inwood murder is still undecided, and when the district attorney's office gets all the evidence together, we'll make the announcement on that one.
Okay. In terms of also on the school resource office, does Nassau County Police have that same database that Suffolk County does? So if someone is suspected of gang membership, the students' information would be entered into this database?
No, our school resource officers kind of act a little differently. They're a liaison for the school. We will never put the school between us and a gang member. We will not put a student between us and the gang member. If we identify a gang member and we vet it out through our gang members and through the process of, our gang officers, when they vet it out and they make sure that that is 100% a gang member, they act out outside the school. They never act on it inside the school.
So they're not taking information about students and putting it in a database?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so how does someone end up in your Intel database?
So there's many factors that will identify you as a gang member. First of all, self-admitted. If you want to self-admit and have the tattoos that you're an MS-13 member, well, then you're a gang member. But then we'll also look into the fact if you hang out with other gang members, if you've been arrested before for gang activity, what witnesses or other individuals that we've arrested, informants, have told us about you. And there's, if you have the signs and you're associating with those gang members, that starts to put you in there. But we constantly go back. We re-vet the system to make sure that those that are in the system are still currently active gang members. I think the number is about 400 MS-13 members that we have in our gang database, but of those, only about 200 are active. And out of the 200, even less are some that are in jail already and less that are on the streets today.
And does that, I'm assuming, actively help you make arrests when things happen, like, or you found the body in East Meadow, right? Then you have this intel already there.
The intel's phenomenal, but better yet, our detectives are phenomenal. You've heard it before, we're short detectives in Nassau County. We know that. We're trying to fix a contractual issue that stops those that wanting to become detectives, which is a very great job in this department. But the detectives that we have do a phenomenal job of investigating and running down the cases.
Okay. I think last year, one of the other things you came under fire for was transparency in the department, including the person who was exposing themselves in the park. What do you plan to change, or how do you reassure the public that that wouldn't happen again?
In that situation on the transparency, that was on me. I'll take the blame for that. We got caught up between 2 cases at the same time, and we dropped the ball. So when we dropped the ball on the team, I'm responsible. So I take the responsibility for that. But we made up. We explained exactly why. We are totally transparent. There's nothing to hide from the department. Obviously, evidence in cases and ongoing investigations we can't release. But when it comes to anything that's happened within our department, full disclosure, make sure that we're communicating correctly, both to the press side, to the community, which is very important to us, and to, of course, to our members, too, to let them know what's going on and why.
And we also saw the arrest of a couple of Nassau County police officers. How do you deal with that going forward to make sure that doesn't happen again? I mean, do you change the screening process or the background checks? Or
I don't think anybody that comes on this job comes on as a bad person. We do a great job of vetting them out before we hire them. You get the bad apples in the bunch, and we can't control what they do off duty. We can only educate them on what they shouldn't and how they should behave. Sometimes you're going to get, when there's over 3,500 employees in the Nassau County Police Department, both civilian and sworn, you get bad apples every once in a while, and people go astray for whatever reasons of what's going on in their personal life. But we constantly send a message home. You got to be above that. You got to be better than most out there, and the public is always watching. So we have to be professionals, and we are.
Okay. Anything else you want to say that you want to focus on going forward? You have some crime stats. I mean, you've said that crime is down. Is that in all categories?
Crime is down. Last year, to give you an idea, residential burglaries, right? That's a personal attack on somebody's home. We used to average about 1,500 burglaries a year. Last year, we finished the year with about 450. That's a phenomenal reduction from where we were. We got to get better. We can do better. So we looked at burglaries, we looked at robberies, we looked at our larcenies, our opiates, our gangs, and our school resource programs, and how do we get better? We include the community. There's 1.3 million people, that's 2.6 million eyes out there that can help me. Community counselors have enhanced. We're well over 200 members. We decided that we don't meet once every 4 months now, we meet every other month. So all 19 legislative districts are meeting with the council and the commissioner's office and members of it to get the message out there, to get education out there. Meeting with our schools is critical when it comes to drug usage. We're trying to get, our theme this year is to get younger and younger and younger. By bringing in the GREAT program, the gang resistance program in education, by bringing in the Too Good for Drugs program, we're trying to get younger to the kids so that we can educate them. We want 3rd, 4th, 5th graders to understand we're the good guys, and the message we're sending you is the right message, to stay away from drugs. You don't need to join a gang. There's help for you if you need help, alcohol, marijuana, all of the gateway things. So we get the message out to a younger group, build a good foundation. That will keep us healthy for the next several years going forward.
And the GREAT program isn't in schools now, or it is?
So the GREAT program has kind of died. It's taken a different direction. We met with the ATF. They're on board to partner up with us again, to bring it back into our schools. We're meeting this week to enhance the program and how we go about buying the new material, and then move forward to getting it into the schools.
Would it be the ATF that does the classes then? Or I know in Suffolk they use the sheriff's office.
Yeah, we'll work with the ATF. It'll be the Nassau County PD and the ATF.
Okay. Anything else you want to get in?
No, just that... so on the roads, DWIs, as you saw last year, we came down again. We had 22 deaths in 2017 related to impairment. Last year we had about 8. That means we still have more work to do. There's a lot of reasons why. Kids are Ubering, they're smarter, they're more educated. We're getting the message out there. Is the reporting, could we have better enforcement? Yes, and we're going to put more money into the enforcement. We're going to work with our groups like MAD and make sure that we're getting the right message out there. Our DWI's arrests were down, but so were deaths and so were auto accidents related to alcohol. So that's a good thing, but we got to work harder. One death is too many on the roads. You don't want to send your kid out to go to a movie theater and die because somebody chose to drive drunk. So we're going to work harder with MAD to make sure that we get the right message out.
And I thought of this last thing, ShotSpotter, that's still up, active, no plans to change that program at all?
So we enhanced it last year. We took it from the Roosevelt, Uniondale area. And like I said earlier, there was 377 shootings in 2010. Last year we finished with, 17 we finished with 16. Last year we finished with 13. So we keep reducing the number, making for a better community. We enhanced it into Freeport. We we work with Hempstead Police Department and use their data, and we've also moved into the Elmont area. Data shows us that we've had shootings there in the past. All of those areas now, once we have 1 year of good, solid data, we'll start to see if we're getting a reduction or an improvement from what we're doing, reacting to what the data tells us.